श्री गुरु चरण कमलेभ्यो नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय श्री गणेशाय नमः। एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय श्री गणेशाय नमः। मोरहस्ताय रक्तवर्णाय लंबोदराय नमः। मोरहस्ताय रक्तवर्णाय लंबोदराय नमः। हस्तिवदनाय सूक्ष्मनेत्राय सर्वसूत्राय नमः। हस्तिवदनाय सूक्ष्मनेत्राय सर्वसूत्राय नमः। बुद्धिप्रदाय सिद्धिनाथाय पाशहस्ताय नमः। बुद्धिप्रदाय सिद्धिनाथाय पाशहस्ताय नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। अर्करूपाय नाट्यप्रियाय गौरीसुताय नमः। अर्करूपाय नाट्यप्रियाय गौरीसुताय नमः। दुर्गाप्रियाय दुरितादुराय दुःखहरणाय नमः। दुर्गाप्रियाय दुरितादुराय दुःखहरणाय नमः। प्रथम वन्द्याय पापनाशाय परमात्मने नमः। प्रथम वन्द्याय पापनाशाय परमात्मने नमः। सकल वेद्याय साधु वन्द्याय सच्चिदानन्दाय नमः। सकल वेद्याय साधु वन्द्याय सच्चिदानन्दाय नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। गम गम गणपति गम गम गणपति गम गणपतये नमः। सरस सुपावन शक्ति है तेजो में आपार। हे आनंद स्वरूपिणी मम हृदय कर उजियार। जय मां जय मां। आराधन तेरा करो निश दिन आथोया घट अंतर शक्ति जगे गाओ तब शुभ नाम। जय मां जय मां। पतित पावनी मात है बालक शरण तिहार मंगलमय वरदान दे यही विनती बारंबार। जय मां जय जगदम्बे के जय जय जगजननी मां। जगदम्बे के जय जय जगजननी मां। क्या मन हरना सुहाया है, क्या मन हरना सुहाया है। बारो सब कुछ मां चरणों पर मेरे मन को ये भाया है। जगदम्बे के जय जय जगजननी मां। जय मां जय मां जय मां। प्रेम पुण्य है करुणामय है आदि शक्ति जग जननी मां। हे मां हे मां हे मां। हे प्रेम पुण्य है करुणामय है आदि शक्ति जग जननी। तेरा वरद हस्त मेरे शीश रहे, तेरा वरद हस्त मेरे शीश रहे। बालक तेरे चरणों में आया है, बालक तेरे चरणों में आया है। जगदम्बे के जय जय जगजननी मां। जय मां जय मां जय मां जय मां। गुरुदेव के अंदर बैठ के मां तुमने बैठ के मां तुमने खेलों को खेला था। उस मंजुल वेश में आकर के, उस मंजुल वेश में आकर के पतितों को गले लगाया है, दुखियों को गले लगाया है। जगदम्बे के जय जय जगजननी मां। जय मां जय मां जय मां जय मां तू ही दुर्गा काली श्री राधा तू ब्रह्मा विष्णु शिव शंकर में ब्रह्मा विष्णु शिव शंकर में तेरा ही तेज समाया है तेरा ही तेज समाया है जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी मां जय मां जय मां जय मां जय मां मैं जो पाऊं तुमसे पाओ जो देवे उसमें हर्षाओ कुछ रहे न मेरा अपनापन मैंने सर्वस्व चढ़ाया है जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी मां क्या मन हरना सुहाया है क्या मन हरना सुहाया है डालो सब कुछ मां चरणों पर मेरे मन को ये भाया है जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी मां जय मां जय मां जय मां जय मां जय 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 जय मां
मंगलमूर्ति राम दुलारे आन परायब तेरे द्वारे हे बजरंग बली हनुमान हे महावीर करो कल्याण हे महावीर करो कल्याण मंगलमूर्ति राम दुलारे आन परायब तेरे द्वारे हे बजरंग रोग हरे सब पीरा। राम रखन सीता मन बसिया। राम रखन सीता मन बसिया। हर रीजे मन का अज्ञान। हर रीजे मन का अज्ञान। मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे। आन परायब तेरे द्वारे। हे बजरंग बली हनुमान। हे महावीर करो कल्याण। हे महावीर करो कल्याण। हे महावीर करो कल्याण। करो कल्याण करो कल्याण। चारों ओर अंधेरा छाया। कुछ ना सूझे मुझको। भोली भटकी कपटिक हो। ढूंढ रही है तुझको। ओ शंकर मेरे। ओ शंकर मेरे। कब होगे दर्शन तेरे। ओ शंकर मेरे। कब होगे दर्शन तेरे। दरस की प्यासी नर मेरे। दरस की प्यासी नर मेरे। अब तो दरस दिखा दे। ओ शंकर मेरे। कब होगे दर्शन दर्शन तेरे, ओ भोले मेरे कब होंगे दर्शन तेरे, शंकर मेरे कब होंगे दर्शन तेरे, ओ शंकर मेरे कब होंगे दर्शन तेरे, ओ भोले मेरे कब होंगे दर्शन तेरे, ओ शंकर मेरे कब होंगे दर्शन तेरे। हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम,
मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम,
हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम, हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम, हरि केशव हरि गोविंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम, हरि केशव हरि गोविंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम, सुंदर नंद मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम,
हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम।
वनमाली मुरलीधारी गोवर्धन गिरिवरधारी,
बनमाले मुरले धारे गोवर्धन गिरिवरधारे,
वनमाली मुरलीधारी गोवर्धन गिरिवरधारी,
बनमाले मुरले धारे गोवर्धन गिरिवरधारे,
नित नित कर माखन चोरी गोपी मनहारी,
नित नित कर माखन चोरी
गोपी मनहारी, हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम,
हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम।
आओ रे गाओ रे गोकुल के प्यारे,
आओ रे गाओ रे गोकुल के प्यारे,
आओ रे कान्हा रे गोकुल के प्यारे,
आओ रे कान्हा रे गोकुल के प्यारे,
गाओ रे नाचो रे रास रचाओ रे,
गाओ रे नाचो रे रास रचाओ रे,
हरि सुंदर नंद मुकुंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम,
हरि सुंदर नंद
मुकुंद
हरि नारायण हरि ओम,
हरि केशव हरि गोविंद हरि नारायण हरि ओम,
हरि केशव हरि गोविंद
Hari Om. Sitaram, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone before we actually start to this afternoon's program, very impromptu. The main purpose is that this year, if Dad was alive, he would have been 100. And his selfless service to his family and the community, we decided we can't let it go unmarked and commemorated. So we just found it was a wonderful opportunity, and I'm so happy to see all of you here. Thanks, Dharmacharya and everyone. We know we are going to have a lovely discourse here from Panditji, and do enjoy the evening. And immediately after the Ramayana, we have a little PowerPoint presentation on Dad's life and his works, and we actually just stayed here with us. It shouldn't be long, 20 minutes or so, and after that, the singing will always be decorating everything, and after that, we have our refreshments. So please enjoy the divinity that we all are. Thank you very much. Sitaram.
Jai Sitaram. Sajjano, thank you, Dan. There will be Havan towards the end of the reading and then one Aarti. Yes. I'm going to give you a little old-fashioned satsang, which for me remains the best form of satsang that we can do. So warm welcome to all of you. Swagatam. Make yourselves comfortable. I noticed there are some seats there, so some of you may wish to use those chairs. To haath jod lena, clasp your hands, bow your heads. Let's pray to Bhagavan. Hari Om. Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswatyai Namaha, Shri Gurubhya Namaha. जय ही सुमिरत सिद्धि हो, जय ही सुमिरत सिद्धि हो, गणनायक कहि वर बदन, करहु अनुग्रह सो, बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण सदन, हो ही वाचा, पंगु चढ़ेगी वर गहन, जासु कृपा सुदयाल, द्रवहु सकल करि मन दहन, नील सरोरुह श्याम, तरुण अरुण करहु समम उरधाम, सदा क्षीर सागर शयन, कुंद इंदु समदेह, उमा रमण करुणायन, चाहि दीन परने, करहु कृपा मर्दन मयन, बंदो गुरुपद कंज, कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि, महामोहतम पुंज, जासु वचन रवि करनि कर, श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निज मन मुकुर सुधार, परिणो रघुवर विमल जस, जो दायक फल चारे, बुद्धिहीन तन जानिके, सुख बुद्धि विद्या देव मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार रामायण तुलसी कृत कथा करो अनुसार आसन विजय प्रेम हित आयु पवन कुमार सिया पति रामचंद्र जी की जय हरि ओम। जय सुमिरत सिद्धि होय गणनायक करिवर बदन। We pray to Bhagavan Sri Ganesh. We know that by praying to Bhagavan Sri Ganesh, good things happen. तो जही सुमिरत सिद्धि होय गणनायक करिवर बदन करहु अनुग्रह सोय बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण सदन. Bhagavan, who is the embodiment of all good qualities, we pray to Bhagavan to bless us. कि हे प्रभु कृपा बनाए रखना. और मूक होई वाचाल पंगु चढ़े गिरिवर गहन जासु कृपासु दयाल द्रवो सकल कलिमल दहन. Many of you sing the Ramayana Sumiran as we just did, and this surat reminds us of how great God is. Ki मूक होई वाचाल पंगु चढ़े गिरिवर गहन. Through the mercy of Bhagavan, the dumb speak, गूंगा बोल लेते हैं, और लंगड़ा जो है दुर्गम पहाड़ की चोटी के ऊपर तक पहुंच जाते हैं. And the lame climb to high mountain peaks because of Bhagavan's blessings. Through Bhagavan's blessings, all the problems of this age of Kali Yuga disappear. And actually, this is considered the age of spiritual darkness. Supposed to be difficult times. Yet these are very beautiful times, more of that later. Yes? मूक होई वाचाल पंगु चढ़े गिरिवर गहन जासु कृपासु दयाल द्रवो सकल कलिमल दहन. And while we are at just put up the harmonium a little bit, touch. Thank you very much. Yes? God bless you. Yes. So, and then of course we remember Bhagavan in his many manifestations. Neela saroru sham taruna aruna varijnena. His Bhagavan, whose body is described, he has the color of the rain clouds and eyes like the color of the dawn, the lotus. Yes? To Karavu so mama uradham sada chir sagar sen. Sant Tulsidas ji is writing when he wrote, Hey Bhagavan Vishnu, make my heart your permanent home. Karo so mama uradham sada chir sagar sayana. And of course, remembering that Bhagavan Vishnu lives in Chir Sagar. The next one is something I like very much. Kunda Indu Samadeha Uma Ramana Karuna Ayana Jahidina Paraneha Karam Kripa Maradanamayana. Praying to Mahadevji. Mahadevji is very special to Ramayana Satsang. He is special to all Hindus, wherever we have settled, but particularly Ramayana Satsangis. Why? Grachi Mahesh Nija Manas Rakha. This Ram Katha is the Katha of Bhagavan Mahadev. And he has been described by Sant Tulsidas ji as the Guru of all Gurus, Tum Tribhuvana Guru, Veda Bakhana. Sant Tulsidas ji presents the view that the Vedas have proclaimed Mahadev ji as the supreme teacher of all the worlds. Yes? Triloki Nath or Sabke Guru, Bhagavan Mahadev. But here he is also described in a certain way, Kunda Indu Samadeha, whose body is like the jasmine, the color of the jasmine, and like the moon in all its brilliance. Mahadevji, his beauty is described in this way. But then he is also described as the consort of Mata Parvati and also friend of those in need. And that is the part that attracts me. Bhagavan is a friend to all, but Bhagavan is particularly interested in those who have needs. Yes? We all have needs. Yes? We all have needs. वैसे तो हम सब भगवान के सामने भिखारी ही हैं. There is a concept that a certain poet has presented to us too, that when we talk about those in need, all of humankind are considered needy, and there is only one giver, and that giver is Bhagavan. बाकी सब के सब भिखारी है. पंडित जी, दाता एक राम, भिखारी सारी दुनिया. Yes, Shri Ram alone is the benefactor of humankind, and the rest of us are beggars before Bhagavan. तो ऐसे ये सुंदर रामायण सुमिरन जो है, in the 5th surah we remember Guru, and I will not spend much time on Guru at this time. And then we go on to our very, very popular Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja, which is also found in the Ramcharitamanas, that we sing when we sing Hanuman Chalisa, and we sing this and we pray to Mahabir Swami, the great and powerful one, Mahabir, the great warrior. Ramadut, ki he Hanuman Swami, we pray to Mahabir Hanuman Swami ji for what? Bal, बुद्धि और विद्या, कि हे प्रभु हमें बल देना, बुद्धि देना, विद्या देना. We pray because बुद्धि ही न तन जानिके, because it is the way of the bhakta, the way of the vakta, the one who recites, not to boast about how much he or she knows, but to consider himself not having enough knowledge to do justice to the glory of Bhagavan, to the Manas, to read the Ramcharitamanas. So we pray to Hanuman Swami, कि बल gives strength, बल, बुद्धि और विद्या, ये तीन चीज की जरूरत होते हैं. These three things are very important. बल, strength, buddhi, knowledge or intelligence, and vidya, knowledge. So we pray for this knowledge, this spiritual knowledge, from Mahabir Swami, Hanumanji. And then in the last couplet I sang Tulsi Krita Ramayana, Ya Ramayana Tulsi Krita, people sing it that way too, or Tulsi Krita Ramayana, Katha Karau Anusar, and I am reading from the Manas, the Ramcharitamanas. There are many versions of the Ram Katha, there are many Ramayans. But this is the book we were brought up on, and this is very dear to all of us. And this is considered the best book in devotional literature ever written, the Ramcharitamanas of Sant Tulsidas. Sant Tulsidas was one of the greatest poets who ever lived and one of the greatest teachers, not only of Hindus, of humankind, but those who would wish to take heed. Yes? We are fortunate that we have an opportunity to still do Ramayana Satsang, to read, to study, to listen to the Ramcharitamanas. To Tulsi Krita Ramayana Katha Karau Anusar, and in it Asana Lijay Prema Hita Aiye Pavana Kumar. Please, Hanumanji, be present. You know, many of us believe that whenever we do Ramayana Satsang, Hanumanji must be invoked in this way and invited to be present. Indeed, we are told he is present everywhere. So, if there are 1,000 satsangs happening at the same time, how can Mahabirji be present there too? In all 1,000 at the same time, he is present everywhere in the universe, in every particle of the universe. So we pray to Mahabir Swami. And that's what we have been doing so far. And since it is Saturday, I still believe it is Saturday, yes? And since it is also Navratri, let us do one or two things. This is a short satsang. Well, I shouldn't say short. It may not turn out to be that short. So, these are how things go, right? So first of all, let us remember Mahabir Swami. We have invited him to be present. Victoria ji, Pandit ji, aap sab milkar, Shri, Satish, sab milkar, Shri Hanuman ji ke, Shri Hanuman Chalisa, Sant Tulsidas ji rachit hai, Hanuman Chalisa. Let us all sing together. Hariyo Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nija Mana Mukura Sudhare Barno Raghumar Bimala Jas Jodayak Phal Char Pandit ji, continue.
बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार।
जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत
तुलित बलधामा
अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। Everybody join me.
कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे गूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिरहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि रंग चरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे राय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत हे सन भाई सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे हस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगाए सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जन कुबेर दिगपाल जहाँ में कभी को वेद कह सके कहाँ में तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाए राजपद दीन्हा तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना युग सहस्र जो जन पर भान लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानो प्रभु मुद्रिका मेरी मुख माही जल दिलांघे गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख है तुम्हारे शरणा तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संभारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमान सकल तुम सारा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंतकाल रघुबर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त पाई। और देवता चित्त न धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख रहे। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलवीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, जो कहि बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, कोई सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय महादेवा। कीजे नाथ हृदय महादेवा। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियापति रामचंद्र जी की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान जी की जय।
The Manas which is in front of me, Sant Tulsidas ji called this Ramayana the Ramcharita Manas. Note Ramcharita Manas. He wrote the Chalisa, which we say. I told you we were brought up on a diet of Ramcharita Manas, readings from the Ramayana of Sant Tulsidas ji. Our Pandits had their style of presenting this katha. Others presented this katha in different ways. Same Ram katha. Then Sant Tulsidas, you said, wrote Hanuman Chalisa. Many of us have been singing Hanuman Chalisa forever. I would suspect that perhaps the most sung booklet in this world is the Hanuman Chalisa. I don't know for sure. But it's something worth thinking about. In this country, you think about how many people every day sing Hanuman Chalisa. Just think about it. There are other works, of course. Sankat Mochan Hanuman Ashtak, Hanuman Bahuk, Bajrang Bhan, Geetavali, Dohavali. Sant Tulsidas said the Manas is one of the greatest books ever written. Sant Tulsidas is one of the greatest teachers, and as a medieval mystic saint, poet, Sanatana Dharma, one of the greatest who walked this earth. You know, when he was born, his mother died. Then his father died, Pandit Atmaram Dubey, and he became an orphan. And he wrote that he became a beggar, and he used to beg for food. I became aware of that when I visited Rajapur, the place that is generally accepted as the place of his birth. And he would sit in the fields and he would eat whatever he got from begging, because people didn't consider him an auspicious child, not a good child. Yes. Because his mother had died, his father had died. He was said to have been born under an inauspicious nakshatra, bad constellation. Human beings, they say all kinds of things about all kinds of people based on all kinds of things that they know about. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't really sit down and judge people. And then Sant Tulsidas became one of the greatest teachers of humankind. The same child who had nobody. You know, there is a little katha my father used to tell with a certain happiness in his total being would be happy when he was telling the katha. When the child had nobody, an old lady came to look after the child. And that lady was none other than Mata Parvati. She took the form of an old lady called Chunia, and she came to look after Tulsidas ji for a while until he could fend for himself. And that is such an important teaching for me when we have nobody in this physical social world in which we live. Somebody comes to you, somebody is there for you, and looking after you. That person may not be the avatar the way Chunia was an avatar, but still Bhagavan may be guiding that person to provide help for you. Now Tulsidas ji gives us the mantra through which he became this great world teacher, and through which he was able to write this manas. And that is Hariyo Ram Naam Ko Kalpataru, Ram Naam Ko Kalpataru, Kali Kalyan Nivas, Ram Naam Ko Kalpataru, Kali Kalyan Nivas, जो सुमिरत भय भागते तुलसी तुलसी दास सिया पति रामचंद्र जी की जय शरण हरि ओम। तो राम नाम को कल्पतरो कलि कल्याण निवास, जो सुमिरत भय भागते तुलसी तुलसीदास. The key was the recitation of the name of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji. There is a tract in the Ramayana of Sant Tulsidas that says of the 1,000 names of Bhagavan Vishnu, the most powerful is Ram. And through it all things are possible. Sant Tulsidas ji himself has written a lot about the name of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji. And his prescription is what? Hariyo Ram Naam Mani Deep Dhare, Ram Naam Mani Deep Dhare, Jihate Hari Dwar, Tulsi Bhitar Bahiro, Jo Chahat Ujiyar Siya, Pati Ramchandra ji ki jai sharanam Hari Om. So yes, he said it is because of Ram Nam, by reciting the name of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji, I, Rambola, that was his original name, I became Tulsidas, the great world teacher, Sant Tulsidas ji. And he said to all of us, keep the name of Ram ji on the tip of your tongue. To Ram Naam Mani Deep Dhare Jih Dehari Dwar. This is the doorway to your inside, and it's the link between the inside and the outside. Keep it here. And what will happen as a consequence is that you will be able to spread divine light wherever you go around you, and the divine light will spread throughout your being. Ram Nam, simple as it gets. Sanatana Dharma is very complex. It's also very simple. And different people have different views on Sanatana Dharma, and they have had it for thousands of years, and they will continue to have for thousands of years. And there is the complex, and there is the simple. The simple is Ram Nam. Hari Om. So the many gifts of Sant Tulsidas, those who have gone before us, what they left behind for us. So we're speaking about a centenary, yes, of Mr. Ramsumair Maharaj, yes, 100 years, a life dedicated to giving to people, to community service, and to family. That's the person I got to know for a brief while, not for very long, not as long as most of you would have known. But I first met him in 1985, and that itself is a long time ago. That's like 15 and 23, 38 years ago. That's a long time ago. Hari Om. So, all I can say is he treated me very well, Vishnu. I'll tell you all something else. As you were coming through that door, I looked at you, and for a moment I did not see you. I saw Krishna. Oh, well, even better, right? Because then I saw Vishnu and Krishna. Hari Om. Very seriously, I did actually see. I thought it was Vishnu coming through the door, and I thought I was looking at Krishna. Hari Om. Well, why not? We believe there is a physical world. We believe there is a social world. We believe there is the world of spirit. And what happens in the world of spirit is not always, they are not always things we can understand or explain. Hari Om. But I suspect that if we are celebrating the centenary of our father, the sons may well be present. Yes? Hari Om. Mukunda Madhav Govinda Bol. Mukunda Madhav Govinda Bol. Keshav Madhav Hari Hari Bol.
Keshav Madhav Hari Hari Bol.
Mukunda Madhav Govinda Bol. The name of Bhagavan. But Parampara requires that we also read a few dohas and chaupas, because we have come to do Ramayana Satsang and we did the Ramayana Sumiran. So I spoke about the gentleman who left us, left the physical world, the social world. Yes, he went to another place. What about those of us who are left behind? What are we doing with ourselves? And so the Katha is from Uttarkand of the Ramcharitamanas. Shri Ramchandra Bhagavan is speaking with his people in Ayodhya, particularly to Bharatji and to Hanumanji and others who are gathered. Hari Om Tate Surshishan Chadata Jag Durlabh Sri Khanda Tate Surshishan Chadata Jag Vallabh Sri Khanda Analadah Pitat Ghani परशुबदन यह दंड सियापति रामचंद्र जी की जय उमापति महादेव जी की जय पवन सुत हनुमान जी की जय शरण. The question that had been posed to Shri Ramchandra ji was, what is the difference between the godly and the ungodly, between Sant and a Sant? And then Shri Ram speaks about, he uses a parable, the axe blade and the sandalwood tree. He said that the axe blade is likened to the ungodly and the sandalwood tree, chandan tree, is likened to the godly. He said in the end, cut a long story short, in the end, the axe blade is put in a furnace and heated and burned and beaten, likened here to hellfire. Yes? And Tate Surushishan Chadata Jagavallabh Sri Khanda. But the sandalwood tree, when it is cut down, it exudes a sap, and the sap runs and the blade makes the blade fragrant. And in the end, it is made into paste. The same chandan wood is used to make chandan paste, and then it is applied to the forehead of the gods. So, you live a good life. You live the life of a santa. Your place is with God. You get the high place with Bhagavan. And if you live an ungodly life, the life of the asanta, then your destiny is that of the axe blade. Siyavar Ramchandra ki jai, Hari Om. So I will tell you, Shri Ram says, about the godly. And why am I telling you about the godly? You are godly people anyway, you're good godly people. But I'm telling you because I want to remind myself, and I want to remind those of us who are gathered here for satsang, that while we celebrate our elders, those who have gone before, we also have to look at our own lives and see whether we are worthy of being called their descendants, whether we are living the kinds of life that make us worthy citizens of the country in which we live, whether we are preparing ourselves for God or we are preparing ourselves for something else. Yes? Hari Om Vishaya Lampat Sila Gunakar Par Dukh Sukh 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 Dekhe Par Sama Bhoot Ripu Bimala Tiragi Lobha Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Small doses. Hari Om. So Vishaya Lampat Sila Gunakar Par Dukh Dukh Sukh Sukh Dekhe Par. That's so godly people are good people. There is a quality described here. There are many qualities described. Well, I pull out one or two and speak with you. Par Dukh Dukh Sukh Sukh Dekhe Par. Yes, that's how it should be. When they come across unhappy people, the saints empathize with them. They want to go and help them. They become unhappy when they see others unhappy. But the happiness comes from seeing other people happy. As we live in this world, yes, we can think about ourselves and only about ourselves, or we can think about others. People in our families, people in our communities, people in the society. Now, I'm not going to elaborate the point. To say a word to the wise is sufficient. Spare thought for somebody. The saints have this habit of caring about people and doing for people. Yes. Hariyo Komal Chita Deenan Pardaya Komal Chita Deenan Pardaya Man Vach Krama Mama Bhat Amaya Sab hi मान प्रदयाप अमानी भरत प्राण सममते प्राणी श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय Komal Chitta. I said they care about people. When they see people suffering, people unhappy, they become unhappy. When they see people happy, they become happy. Komal Chitta, Deenan Paradaya. They are gentle by nature and they care about those in need. They serve a God who cares about all of us. They serve a God who cares about them. And they in turn care about people. These teachings are very, very important. For me anyway. To komal chit deenan paradaya or man vach kram mama bhakta amaya. They are not trapped in this world of illusions and delusions. They come out of that. Or fir man kram vach. मन वचन और कर्म से हमारे सेवा पूजा करते हैं. They worship me, they become bhaktas. Total being, with their total being. They surrender themselves to me, Shri Ramchandra ji is speaking to his people. Hariyo Bigat Kam Mam Nam Parayana Bigat Kam नाम परायण शांति विरति विनति मोदितायन श्री राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम विगत काम मम नाम परायण शांति विरति विनति मुदितायन शीतलता सरलता मैत्री विज पद प्रेम धर्म जनयित्री श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम. And so कोमल चित दीनन परदाया और मन क्रम बच मम भक्त अमाया, doing bhakti to Bhagavan. And then सब ही मान प्रद आपो अमानी. They always know how to respect others. They treat people well, they care about people, but they always give respect where it is due. And they do not demand same for themselves. Many of us, we get trapped into this thing about they didn't recognize me. So, ego speaks in very interesting ways. Yes. Many of us are always demanding recognition. They didn't worship me. They didn't welcome me properly. So what? You come for what? To be honored, or you come to do satsang? What have you come for? You come to worship, to surrender to God, or you come to be treated as a God? Why do you go to satsang, puja? For that, why are you in public life? To be served or to serve? Mr. Maharaj, I don't think I want you to respond at this time. It comes to that. No, you, Madam Speaker. We are in public life to serve or to be served. Sometimes we forget. Ego, I said, speaks in a variety of ways. To sabahi man apu amani bharat prana samu mamate prani. In my long life, I have met so many very interesting people. God bless them all. God bless them all. To bigata kama mama nama parayan, we're back to where we started. And giving up their lust and various desires, they keep reciting my name and worshipping me. That's where we started, yes? To recite the name of Bhagavan. Shanti, Birati, Vinati, Mudatayan. Humble, simple, peaceful people. Pleasant disposition. We're talking about godly people, saintly people. I sometimes wonder, when people say to me, I worship God, I'm surrendered to God. Yes. But they're not happy. Why not? If you surrender to God, you should be happy. God is the abode of all happiness. He's the storehouse of all happiness. One of the qualities of Bhagavan is Ananda. Anandam. Yes? Bhagavan is the embodiment of all happiness, of bliss. You surrender to Bhagavan. You are identifying with Bhagavan, you should also be a little happy. I'm tempted to say, Victoria ji, does your bhajan book have prema mudita man se kaho Ram, Ram, Ram? Of course it has, yes? So she's going to put it up. Prem mudita man se, with a little bit of love and a little happiness and joy. You sing the name of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji. See? Hari Om. So we are going to hear, this is something that you all know. Prema mudita man se kaho Ram, Ram, Ram. And, yes, Victoria ji, yes. And then you wouldn't have to bother whether it is Ektal or Deep Chandi or Japtal or anything, yes. Hari Om.
प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम 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 प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 राम
राम राम राम श्री राम राम राम
पाप कटे दुख मिटे देत राम नाम पाप कटे
दुख मिटे लेक राम नाम
पाप कटे दुख मिटे देत राम नाम
भक्ति दुख मिटे लेक राम नाम
भव समुद्र सुख रनाव एक राम नाम भव समुद्र सुख रनाव एक राम नाम राम 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 राम
से कहो राम राम राम. Be happy and with love you recite the name of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji. तो शीतलता सरलता मैत्री यद विगत काम मम नाम परायण और शांति विरति विनति मुदितायण. शीतलता सरलता maitri. Gentle, kind, simple people, simple in their ways. Sri Ramchandra ji, remember, is speaking about the godly. And he's recommending to people that if you really want to get the highest good, this is the kind of life you must live. To Sitalata, Saralata, Maitri, and the word Maitri means friendliness, yes? The saint is also a friendly person. Sanatana Dharma doesn't require for us to have long drawn out faces and to be grumpy and quarreling and arguing all the time. We could do without that. So Sitalasa, Saralata, Maitri, just in case someone asks, what about speaking the truth? It's okay to speak the truth, but you can do it in a way that you make your point without upsetting yourself and everybody else. Process. Hari Om. Controversial? Sitalata, Saralata, Maitri. Or Dvijapada Prema Dharma Janitri, following the path of Sanatana Dharma, of course, and I won't spend too much time on that. Or then there's a line that Samadama Niyama Niti Nahi Dolahi. No matter what the challenge is, they do not give up their principles and they remain in control of themselves. It's very easy to get carried away. It's very, very easy to get carried away. Stay in control. Shri Ramchandra ji told the people, the saints stay in control. Hari Om Nindaya Stuti Ubhaya Sama Mamata Mama Padakanja. Nindaya Stuti Ubhaya Sama Mamata Mama Padakanja. Te sajan mam pran priya gun mandir sukh punj siyapati ramchandra ji ki jai umapati mahadev ji ki jai pavan sut hanuman ji ki jai saranam. Ninda astuti ubhaya sama. They're not carried away by praise, nor are they bothered by criticism. They know who they are, what they are about. It's okay if you criticize them. It's okay if you praise them. They're not going to be carried away because you say nice things today. They're not going to feel dejected because you say bad things tomorrow. They understand that that is the nature of things. That's the nature of the world in which we live. Mamata Mama Padakanj. And they always worship my lotus feet. Mamata Mama Padakanj. Te sajjana Mama Pran Priya. I love them very much. Like my own life. Te sajjan. Here the word sajjan is used. There's a word called jan, people. Durjan, wicked people. Sajjan, good people. Te sajjana. Such good people are very dear to me. Gun Mandir, they are also full of good qualities, as we have described some. So, these are the people we should call sadhu. These are the people we should call sadhu. People have indeed said to me sometimes, you can't expect everybody to be sadhus. That's true. Not everyone is going to be a sadhu. Not everyone is interested in being a sadhu. Sanatana Dharma also recognizes a group of people who are called Anishwaramvadi. They say that there is no God in this world. Anishwaram, without God. That is also stated in chapter 16 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan doesn't think very highly of those who say there is no God. Yes? That there is no spiritual foundation to this world. And everything that has come about in this world has come about because of lust. Bhagavan is not very kind in his description of those people. Yes. Hariyo. I trust that you all are doing very well. Yes? All you sadhus, saintly, good people, righteous people, come together for the right reasons to do satsang. Yes? To praise the deceased ancestor. Yes? But also to remember to take some notes. Yes? How did he live his life? Whatever he did, you see, in his own lifetime, he has received the rewards of what he did. So what we are doing is good for us. That's another thing. When you're doing something, you're doing it for who? Who are you doing it for? Huh? Let us not get carried away. What a great thing we did for our father, for our mother, for the service. What a great thing we did for ourselves. Perhaps. Yes. That's why sometimes when I go to certain situations, social gatherings, I ask the people, who are you praying for? For others or for yourself? Because many a times that also happens, you know. Some of us who are very busy praying for others, we forget to pray for ourselves. ज्ञान बांटने चलते हैं हम लोग, पूजा पाठ करने, कहते हैं जजमान सुखी रहो, आशीर्वाद, चिरंजीवी, everything. We're giving blessings and everything. As I'm talking to Panditji and Panditjis, yes, we go and we're doing puja and we're giving blessings and doing all kinds of things. But we must also remember to be like sadhu, yes, to live the kind of life where you don't demand respect. Yeah? People would want to come to you. Not everybody. Sadhu people would want to come to you because the asadhu will not want to come to you. That's another thing to remember. Hariyo Rama sunaho santana ke rasubhao Rama ho Rama Rama bhule ho sangat kariya na kao
Rama ho Rama
Rama tin kar sang sada dukhadai
Rama ho Rama
Rama jimi kapilahi dhale har hai
Rama ho Rama
Rama khalana hridayati tap biseki
Rama ho Rama
Rama jarahi sada parasampati dekhi
Rama ho Rama
Rama jaha kaha ninda sunahi parai jaha kaha ninda sunah parai हर्षहि मनहु परिनिधि पाई जहाँ कहाँ निंदा सुनहि पराई हर्षहि मनहु परिनिधि पाई श्री राम जय
Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
I have my peculiar style, yes? And the thing is this, it's good to challenge yourself sometimes, in a whole lot of things, but we'll talk about that in a little while. Sunahu asantan kera subhavu बैठिए. Somebody, you assist him. Hari Om. Sunahu asantane ke ras bhavu, bhoole hi sangat kariye na kaau. I say this to you, my people, Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji say. Then there are the others, the sant, the asant, the godly and the ungodly, the sadhu and the asadhu. And here's Bhagavan's caution. And this is a very, very important caution. Mothers, grandmothers, fathers, grandfathers, uncles, gurus, acharyas, others. Bhulehu sangat kariya na kaau. Even by mistake, don't associate with those kinds of people. Now, Tinkar Sangha Sada Dukadai, because once you begin to associate with these kinds of people, you are going to get into trouble. Tinkar Sangha Sada Dukadai, Jimmy Kapilahi Ghale Hariyai. I will not use that, explain that parable. That once you associate with these wicked kinds of people, you're going to get into trouble. And this is a subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And then they fall back behind this thing about all of us are divine. Yes? All of us are same human family. Yes? When you say don't associate with certain kinds of people because you're going to get into trouble, people don't want to discuss that anymore. But it's true. If someone is walking, talking trouble in front of you, why do you want to associate with him anyway? That's not very sensible. Walking, talking trouble. You want me to describe them? I'll describe a few things about them, yes? These are very interesting people. And you don't want to be like them. So I told you, we'll give you some of Shri Ramji's teachings about sadhu, we should be, right? Kind of people that we should aspire to be and we should associate with. The other group of people. So, Hari Om. So I sang a few lines, but I just explained them. Khalana hriday atitap bisekhi jarahi sada parasampati de. Just very quickly. One of the things that they've happened with them, this ungodly, the group is called the Asant. When they see others prospering, they become jealous. They're always in the business of pulling down other people. Jahan kahan ninda sunahi parai, harshahi manahu pari nidipai. Where they hear gossip, and where people are engaged in ill-speaking one another, they become very happy. They join such conversations quite happily, and they participate in that, in pulling down people. And they will sit with you and pull down mistakes. And then they will sit with mistakes and pull you down too. Of course, I always console myself and say people who pull you down cannot be higher than you, yes? Not true? If you're going to pull me down, you have to be at a lower level than I am, yes? I think that is simply enough to understand. So don't bother too much. But they can succeed, eh? So, Tinkar Sangha Mahadukadai, so Jahan kahan ninda sunahi parai, jahan kahu ninda sunahi parai, har sahi manu pari nidhipai, काम क्रोध मद लोभ परायण निर्दय कपटी कुटिल malay. Now, it's a whole lot of words. There is a second line though I would like to just mention. Bear akaran sab kahus. And they don't need a reason to be an enemy to you. They don't need any reason to be enemy to anybody. That's how they are. They will always find a reason to hate you, not to like you. They're always finding fault. Or kam, krodh, mad, lobh, parayan. And full of lust, and greed, and anger, and arrogance. You see them everywhere. Now, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. And I'm sure you two are not thinking about anybody in particular. Yes? But if you see an angry, loud, aggressive man shouting, always pointing fingers, blaming everybody, yes, hating everybody, finding fault, pulling down people, you don't want to associate with that person. Shri Ramchandra ji has taught us, don't associate with that kind. You're going to get into trouble. Yes. And certainly don't allow your children, that's why I said grandfathers, grandmothers, fathers, mothers, guides, teachers, please note. Be very careful. Your children meet other children. They have to be in the same environment with some other children sometimes. You have to be careful who you allow them to bring home as friends. You have to be careful. I sound like a teacher here? I'm supposed to teach, eh? That's part of what I am supposed to do. And I think you all know all of these things already. There's a line that I have always enjoyed reading, simple chaupai. झूठ ही लेना झूठ चबेना झूठ ही लेना झूठ चबेना झूठ य भोजन झूठ चबेना झूठ य लेना झूठ य देना झूठ य भोजन झूठ चबेना बोल ही मधुर वचन जिनि मोरा खाई महाही हृदय कठोरा श्री राम जय राम जय जय रामा श्री राम जय राम जय जय रामा श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। झूठ ही लेना और झूठ ही देना. They love to receive lies and to give lies. और झूठ है भोजन झूठ चबेना. They live on a diet of lies. And they chew lies all the time and digest lies all the time. Well, I know you don't know people like that, yes? Yes? And then, of course, they insist that whatever they say is correct, eh? बोल ही मधुर बचन जिमि मोरा और खाई महा अहि हृदय कठोरा. I'm not going to explain the parables and so on, because some of the imagery of a time gone by, we don't need to talk about them sometimes. Right? But they speak very sweetly in front of you sometimes. But inside, they're no good. They're no good inside. हरि ओम परद्रोही परदार रत परधन परयपवाद परद्रोही परदार रत परधन परयपवाद ते नर पामर पापमया देह धरे मन जात सियापति रामचंद्र जी की गए उमापति महादेव जी की गए पवन सुत हनुमान जी की गए शरणम. परद्रोही परदार रता परधन परयपवाद. Wouldn't surprise you. Shri Ram said of these people, Sant Tulsidas ji recorded and taught us, They become enemies of people, ordinary people. They're always creating divisions in communities and societies, and they are always greedy for other people's wealth. Engaged in pulling down people. We've already talked about those things. Now, this is a very powerful statement. Te nar pamar papa maya. They are really vessels of sin that call themselves human. Deha dhare manujada. They walk about looking good, human bodies, but nothing short of vessels of sin. I know some people don't read these parts of the Ramcharitmanas anymore. The Ramayana of Sant Tulsidas, chapter 16 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I always recommend to all my students who still talk with me, some don't speak with me anymore, yes? And when they ask, I say, read chapter 6. You want to study Bhagavad Gita? Read chapter 16 first. Say, Panditji, but normally it said we start at the beginning. No problem. You could start at the beginning. We read 16 first. There is a classification there. God type and demon type. There is a discussion in spirituality and materialism. Yes? About the theists and the atheists. People who believe in God and do not believe in God. It's a very, very important part of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And shall we say, they also have my chelas and chelans who I don't ever see unless there is special occasion. That was for one particular person, but that's okay. She got the message nonetheless. God bless you. I still love you all, you know. I love you very much, yes? You continue to live good lives, do good, the right thing. So you honor your parents, your grandparents, your ancestors, those who have gone before you, by remembering their teachings, by remembering their example, by remembering their sacrifice, but also living kind of life. This is a worthy life. And staying away from certain people because they're going to pull you down. You don't want to be like that anywhere. This katha that I have read is very similar to what is in chapter 16 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Very similar. Read it sometimes. Or be happy. We should be happy and we should enjoy the satsang when we come to satsang. By the way, those people who sit in satsang and say the Guru should not have said that, you are also doing something that Sanatana Dharma does not recommend. If you call him Guru, then you don't tell him what to say. You listen to what he has said. You reflect on that. That's why he's called Guru. Yes? But one who insults the Guru, challenges the Guru, is doing the wrong thing as far as Sanatana Dharma is concerned. Of course, the Guru should be a Guru. That's another katha for another time. Yes? Not everyone is a Guru. So we also have to remember. But I'll just give you a little clue when I say not everyone is a Guru. You know, there is something that goes, Panditji, bhavatitam triguna rahitam sadguru tam namami. There is a book called the Guru Gita that discusses in great detail the qualities of Guru. Guru rises above emotions, bhavatitam. He's not carried away by all kinds of things. Or triguna rahitam, and he is beyond the modes of material nature. He's lifted himself above that. And he discusses concepts, ideas from the Vedas, the Upanishads, when he sits with his chelas and groups. So tattvamasya adi laksham. He speaks about things like tattvamasi, thou art that, taken from the Upanishads. He discusses those as ideas. This is from Guru Gita actually. Yes. his Sanatana Dharma is very nice. Yes, like I said, it can be very challenging, it can be very complex, it can be very simple. It's how you look at it. Life is like that too. Huh? You could make life difficult. You can allow your own life to trap you. Or you yourself could make things a little different. Hari Om. I want to sing a bhajan. Yes? Then we'll do Havan, we'll do Aarti, and then I will bring closure to the satsang. And then you will have your presentations. Yes? I take it that it's close to 8 o'clock. Yes, it is. Yes. Let me sing something that we all know. Huh? I was going to sing something else, but I thought, do this. Hari Om, Narayana Vishnu. Hari Om. Bando charan kamal raghunandan. Bando charan kamal raghunandan. Bando charan kamal raghunandan. Kamal raghunandan. Kamal raghunandan. Kamal सकल सुख संपत्ति जिनके कृपा सकल सुख संपत्ति पावत जन भक्तन उर चंदन पावत जन भक्तन उर चंदन बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन बंदो बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन। अवधपुरी प्रभु नित्य विराजत अवधपुरी नित्य विराजत नित्य विराजत नित्य विराजत नित्य विराजत जनक सुता युक्त दुष्टन कंदन जनक सुता युक्त दुष्टन कंदन बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन हे बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन। तीन ताप और जन्म मरण भय तीन ताप और जन्म मरण भय दूर करत क्षण में जन रंजन दूर करत क्षण मिश्रण मत चरणन में भगवन,
मिश्रण मत चरणन में भगवन।
कृपा करिए सेवक भय भंजन, कृपा करिए
सेवक भय
भंजन।
बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन, बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन, बंदो चरण कमल रघुनंदन। तो सज्जनों, considering it is 2 minutes to 8, we have Havan to do, Arti to do, Visarjan. Yes? Then we have a presentation. So, Pandit ji, taiyari karo. While you all are preparing for the Havan, I'll sing the other song I wanted to sing. Yes? Hari Om Ram Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranam Tatulyam Ram Ram Badanane Ram Ram Bhaj Ram Ram Bhaj Ram Ram Bhaj Ram 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 Siya Ram Bhaj Le Ram Ram Siya Ram Bhaj Ram Ram Siya Ram Bhaj Ram Ram Siya Ram Ram Ram
भज राम राम भज राम राम भज राम।
राम राम सिया राम भज ले राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम।
धर्म काज पृथ्वी पर आए दशरथ जी के पुत्र कहाए
पुत्र कहाए पुत्र कहाए।
जनकपुरी में शिव धन तोड़ा सती सियासन नाता जोड़ा
नाता जोड़ा नाता जोड़ा।
सिया पिया बन राम प्रभु कहलाए सीताराम भज राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम
राम राम भज राम राम भज राम राम भज राम। राम राम सिया राम भज ले राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम।
विश्वामित्र यज्ञ रखवारे सती अहल्या तारन हारे
तारन हारे तारन हारे।
पिता वचन को पालन हारे राजपाट तजी बन को सिधारे
बन को सिधारे बन को सिधारे।
पंचवटी को बना दिया प्रभु आज धर्म का धाम भज राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम 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 सिया राम राम भज राम राम भज राम 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 भज राम भज ले राम राम सिया राम भज राम
राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम।
असुरों को संहार ठान कर सेना सहित चढ़े लंका पर
चढ़े लंका पर चढ़े लंका पर।
अभिमानी रावण को मारा सीता को संकट से उबारा
संकट से उबारा संकट से उबारा।
राम राज हो गया देश में गुण गाए हनुमान भज राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम 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 भज राम राम भज राम राम भज राम 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 सिया राम भज ले राम राम सिया राम भज राम राम सिया राम, भज राम राम सिया राम, भज राम राम सिया राम, भज राम राम
सिया राम।
हो गया हवन? हो रहा है हवन। हरि ओम श्रीमते रामचंद्राय नमः। ओम सीतायै नमः। ओम लक्ष्मणाय नमः। ओम भरताय नमः। ओम शत्रुघ्नाय नमः। ओम नमो हनुमन्ताय। हरि ओम वाल्मीकये नमः। ओम तुलसीदासाय नमः। ओम गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। Shall we prepare for Aarti? Meantime, it's done. Hari Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Shama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swada Namostute. Om Hari Om. आरती के थाली ले लेना. Please stand everybody. हरि ओम. आरती श्री रामायण जी की. कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की. आरती श्री रामायण जी की.
कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की.
आरती श्री रामायण जी की. कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की. आरती श्री रामायण जी की.
कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की.
गावत ब्रह्मादिक मुनि नारद. वाल्मीकि विज्ञान विशारद. सुख सनकादि शेष अनुसारद. बरनि पवन सुत कीरति की. आरती श्री
रामायण जी की. कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की.
आरती श्री रामायण जी की.
कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की.
संतत गावत शंभु भवानी. अर्घट संभव गुणि विज्ञानी. व्यास आदि कवि तुंग कथानी. काक भुषुंडि गरुड़ तेरी की. आरती श्री रामायण जी की.
कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की.
आरती श्री रामायण जी की.
कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की.
चारियो वेद पुराण अष्टदश छहो शास्त्र सब ग्रंथन को रस. तन मन धन संतन के सरवस. सारांश सम्मत सब ही की.
आरती श्री रामायण जी की. कीर्ति कलित ललित सियति की.
Shri Ramayana
जी की कीरति कलित ललित सिय पीकी
कलिमल हरणी विषय रस फीकी सुभग सिंगार मोती युवती की हरणी रोग भव मूर्यमी की
हरणी रोग भव
मूर्यमी की तात मात सब विधि तुलसी की आरती श्री रामायण
जी की कीरति कलित ललित सिय पीकी
कीरति कलित ललित सिय पीकी कीरति कलित
ललित सिय पीकी
बोलो राजा रामचंद्र की जय, बोलो उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, बोलो आदि शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, सकल पंच गुरुजन के जय जय सीताराम। बैठिएगा सज्जनों, विराजिएगा। प्लीज टेक योर सीट्स। श्री कृष्ण नारायण विष्णु। Hari Om. Sajjano, before I do Visarjan, close the formal part of this, right, to go to the presentation. The people who normally accompany me when I go to sing, do Ramayana Satsang, they were not available. In fact, they were willing to come. But I know they had an invitation to go to some place very special for them. So I said to them, go and attend the function. And I called Satish and I asked him to arrange a group of musicians who would accompany me. Well, you know the musicians, they are your musicians. But Panditji, I want to thank you very much. And I also want to ask you to offer your blessings to this family, yes, before we do Visarjan. And Panditji,
एक बार फिर से आप रामचंद्र की जय। Reverend Guruji, thank you very much for a wonderful katha this evening. I enjoyed it tremendously, and it was a pleasure being here to join with you in satsang. To the members of this family, I was asked to say something, but I think I'll do the two with one, right? Kill two birds with one stone. So, as already on the mic, I was also asked to say a few words on behalf of the late Mr. Ramsumair Maharaj. And many of you may not know, but I knew him, we were very close, from about 50 years ago. In the early 70s, when I got involved in the Dudnath Mandir, Mr. Ramsumair Maharaj was there, one of the executive members. He was then the treasurer of the Dudnath Mandir. And we worked together in the mandir for many, many years. And he was a great soul. Excuse me if I use the term, but we always called him Uncle Mack. We didn't know him as Ramsumair Maharaj. We knew him Mack. Right? And we always called him like that. His father, and my father were very good friends. And so I have a lot of very good memories about Mr. Ramsumair Maharaj. And it is wonderful that the children and grandchildren are celebrating an occasion like this. What would have been his 100 years. He was a great soul, and as Panditji said, you know, great people bring great things and great offsprings, wonderful children and grandchildren. And so I would like to commend all those who would have been involved in arranging this satsang in his memory. And we pray that wherever he may be, we pray firstly that he would have found his place at the feet of Bhagwan himself. And if not, then wherever he may be in this world, we pray that he will continue that journey until he is liberated until he finds himself in oneness with the Supreme Lord and Master. So again, commendations to the members of the family, and I do wish that his blessings will continue to be upon all of you, that you will continue to strive and do well. Let's all clasp our hands and join in prayer. We ask Bhagwan's blessings upon all. Om Yam Brahma Vadunindradrudramaruta Stunuvanti Divyai Savair Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadair Gayanti Yam Samgaha Dhyana Vashitargatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yashyantam Navidu Sura Suragana Devaya Tashmai Namaha Devaya Tashmai Namaha Devaya Tashmai Namaha Prem Sulasya Ramachandra Ki Jai. Dhanyabad Baba.
Thank you, Ji. Pandit Ji, Ramnarayan Basdev Ji, and members of his family who are the Bhajan group, really. And it's time for us to do Visarjan, and then we'll hand over to you to do the rest. Haath jod lena, sir. Clasp your hands. In the tradition of our forefathers, bow your heads and pray to Bhagavan. Hari Om. कथा विसर्जन होत है, सुनो वीर हनुमान, राम लक्ष्मण जानकी, सदा करो कल्याण, एक घड़ी आधो घड़ी, आधो में पुनियाद, तुलसी संगत साध के, कटत कोटि अपराध, देवता सब आश्रप गए, शंभु गए कैलाश, रामायण मम हृदय आय करो तुम वास, राम लक्ष्मण जानकी, भरत शत्रुघ्न भाई, कथा विसर्जन होत है, इनको शीश नवाय, बार बार बर मांग्यो, हर्ष देव श्री रंग, पद सरोजन पायिनी, भक्ति सदा सतसंग, सियापति रामचंद्र जी की जय, उमापति महादेव जी की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान जी की जय, उरैसा जगन्नाथ जी की जय, वृंदावन कृष्ण चंद्र जी की जय, अयोध्या राम लला जी की जय, शरणम। Jai Sitaram. God bless you all. So I will now hand over to, whom shall I hand over to? Satish? आइए बेटा।
श्यावर रामचंद्र की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय। O most revered Vyasji, O most revered Guruji of this home, His Holiness the Dharmacharya of Trinidad and Tobago, most humble pranams to you. With his blessings, I start this evening's second phase of the program. मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करना चाहता हूँ. I welcome all of you again, as we know that this year marks the 100th birth anniversary of my Aja. In this light, the Ramsumair Maharaj family wished to commemorate this event with primarily two following activities: the Ramayana Satsang, which we most graciously enjoyed, and the production of a booklet dedicated to the life of my Aja Harnarine Ramsumair Maharaj. Indeed, I must say at this time that I consider myself fortunate to know that my Aja, and I say this proudly, and I'm sure all of you will agree, by the definitions and the benchmarks heard from Rampersad this evening, I'm sure you would agree that my Aja is indeed a godly person, and he was a godly person by all definitions. But that being said, I wish to also take this opportunity to introduce the eldest granddaughter of this family, Avisha, to take us from here to do the remarks and all the other aspects of the program. So without further ado, I ask my cousin Avisha to grace us with her presence.
Rama, everyone. Well, after that illustrious introduction, Satish, sorry, sorry, it's on the tip of my tongue these days. Satish gave, I would just say Sitaram Guruji, Sitaram Manadboya, to all my aunts and uncles, cousins, fellow guests, welcome tonight, right? I am the eldest granddaughter, and I also have the privilege today of representing my family. My mother Linda, my father Sharma, my brother Anil, his wife Jas, their children Ishika Sagar, Amaya, my husband Rudy, my daughter Adhya, Sanat, and last but not least, my little sister Aruna. Right? I am Avi Maharaj, Linda's daughter, Linda Ramsumair from Rosalak. I cannot tell you how many times in my life over the years I have said that. And in an instant, a light goes on in the eyes of the stranger standing next to me, and they now regard me with respect, warmth, and familiarity. But why should that mean anything? Linda Ramsumair got married 56 years ago and left Rosalak, right? But mummy, aunties, myself, and all of us here in this room today have the privilege of being related to my Nana, Mr. Harnarine Ramsumair of Rosalak. We, from one generation to the other, have ridden on the coattails of his legacy, his hard work, his community spirit, his values, and his reputation. And we continue to do so today. And it is admirable that even 37 years after his death, his love for his family, his spirit, his deep sense of religion is so alive that it has brought us here today to celebrate him, to reminisce, to share experiences. And in this light, I now have the honor of introducing my second youngest aunt, Vimla, whom we all fondly call Auntie D. Right? She's going to tell us about the initiative that she spearheaded to further immortalize Nana.
Everyone can see, right? Sitaram again to everyone. We did not want Dad's legacy to go undocumented. Sitaram everyone once again. We did not want Dad's hard work and legacy to go undocumented, mainly because we wanted to serve as an inspiration for his descendants of both the family and the community. So I will just do a brief, we're going to show it on the PowerPoint, a brief look at the couple of slides in the beginning. We're not going to go through the whole book, don't be worried. But before I do so, I'd like to present one to the Dharmacharya, and you can even follow as we go along. So we're just going to look a little bit at what the makings of his life. So we go to, you can go, continue. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so we look at Dad's heritage and birth. He was born on the 4th of April 1923 in the village of Avakat. His father was Ramsumair, mother Gangi, and they brought forth the first grandchild of Pandit Ramanand, an Indian immigrant of the Triparty family of Chiaunta village, Azimgarh, India. A little touch on that is that the journey started when we went to the archive and began looking for the immigration pass of Ramanand. And we had difficulty finding, and then we got, I forgot the gentleman's name, sorry, I'm tired. The gentleman who does the research and stuff, and he located the immigration pass, and a whole lot of information about Dad's heritage started coming to us, Ramanand Pandit. And we got the actual village, and we traced it through the land records, his father's name, and they located the family in the village, and we got that information, right? So early years, we go to the next slide. Dad's early years, he spent his time with Ramanand as the first grandchild. He would walk all the way to Cedros with him. We were told that Ramanand never sat in a car, although the family has a reputation of having the first fleet of cars and all of that. But Pandit Ramanand would walk all the way to Fullerton, etc. And Dad, as a little boy, goes with him and spends the night in the yajnas with him, and these were his molding years. We go to the next slide. Yeah. Next slide. Now Ramanand worked in the Mondesi estate, and when they discovered that he was more learned, literate, they paid off his indentureship and he became a practicing Pandit for the estate workers then. That shared all his information with us, right? And working with Ramanand, his value system was very much one of almost, I would say, to me, my father was a saint. When I see the quality of life he lived and the quality of services, and all this he gained from his grandfather. He, as a result, became a leader from early o'clock in the village. He was sought after by all. He was a pupil teacher at the Roselak Presbyterian School. He and his brother, Uncle Sonny Vijay, is here. They were pupil teachers at the school, and he naturally blossomed into a leader where all the youths were around him. And next slide. Here we see some of the Roselak gentlemen who were his friends, who came together to build the community. They would have started in the days when we had tracks and unpaved roads and stuff. And these were the gentlemen. Here we have Harnarine, here we have Moses Takardas, Sapan Singh, Biggs, his brother, Champat Singh. all these names. There you have him with his siblings. And they were the ones who got the roads paved, wrote and got the pavement, wrote and got the electricity for Rosilak village, and then they worked on Nirantar Trace and Budu Singh and Sober. All these activities that spearheaded over the years with, next slide. Well, before I go into there, over the years, he would have worked with Bisrup Ratiram, you know, the Ratirams from Rosilak. I don't know if any of them are here. He would have worked very hard with Bisrup Ratiram. Some years, Dad would be president of the village council, some years Bisrup would be secretary, and they would alternate roles for maybe 20, 30 years. They functioned like that. And they did everything for Rosilak like that, along with the support of their friends. Now then, him and Mom would have, it's an arranged marriage between the Sepols of Grand Trace and Ramsumair of Rosilak. And as much as coming, it's not a shame, because as Pandit said, we are all humans and you have all types of personalities. Ramsumair was a bit spoiled being out of a rich Pandit, whatever, and he did have an alcohol problem, right? And also Sipol back in those days, you all know the history of the indentures. It's nothing for us to be ashamed of. It's part of our heritage, part of the indentureship system and what our ancestors faced, and we have risen out of it, we hope, right? And Ramsumair and Sipol were partners in drinking, and that's where the arrangement, they were both Pandit sons. And yet, out of that relationship, they made the arranged marriage, and Mom and Dad, although they were in school together, Auntie Gully, Dad's sister, was her best friend, this marriage took place, right? Yeah, move on. Continue. Next. Right? Out of the marriage, we have these 10 siblings, and I think most people know them. We're sharing these pictures. Now the book is not out for public sale. It's a family keepsake. It's really for the next generation. And if anybody really feel inclined to have a copy, you just contact me, right? So here we have the siblings. You have them listed in order there. Everybody always asks, who is the first, who is the second, and we have to go narrating, right? You have Linda, Krishna, Brenda, Glenda, Vashti, Vishnu, Rajati, Dipnarayan, Vimla, Shubha. You see a strange combination of Hindi names and English names, because there was a strong relationship coming out of the Presbyterian school where they got their education and stuff, and we would all get both English and Indian names. So move on to the next one. Out of that marriage, that first marriage, Linda's wedding was a big grand thing, which is still talked about by some people here. We have the firstborn coming, and here we have a picture of that joyous occasion where Anil was born. We move on. And here we just go back into ahead of his time. He was always a very progressive thinker. Early o'clock, from the early days, he made sure, even though his father had that alcohol problem, he took on the responsibility of the family. And he made sure his sister got a proper education in those days. And he sent her to Naparima Girls College. And likewise, he had that forward thinking. He never confined the woman, etc. He gave us a certain liberty. And he ensured that his children, the girls and the boys, were all treated alike and took an education, etc. We move on. Right, so how he became known as Mr. Mack, right? He was a natural leader, very balanced. Everybody reaches up to his door when they have a problem. 12 o'clock in the night, vigilante committee he forms, and people hold a guy who is passing through drunk and loud and brings him here and wakes up Dad, and they have the panchayat and decide what to do. So he has always been sought, but as a young man, he was very talented. And he used to fix cars. He could do anything. Build furniture, fix cars, you name it. His sons kind of take after him also. And because he was so good at fixing the cars, they started calling him Mack after Macaneni, the firm Macaneni. That's how he got the name Mr. Mack. And he also tutored the prominent, very good mechanics. They learned from him. Luj, everybody villagers know Luj. Luj learned mechanic from Dad. And Luj became even better than that. Like a true guru, you allow your student to go beyond you. Next. All right. This is a murti that was donated. We had in 2017. And murti donated on their behalf at the temple. And at that occasion, next. At that occasion, this is a community picture a member of the family's relatives sent for us in front of the church here. This is Dad, this is Gayaki Soon, this is his brother's son, his father's brother's son, Junka, and a set of villagers. Now the gentleman Gaya did a lot of work. That's actually his nephew-in-law. He was married to Uncle Sonny's only daughter. And he literally treats Dad like a guru. He will still meet us and keep repeatedly telling me, your dad is my guru. Because they work together in the community. It's out of him. I, as a young girl, didn't know all the details. And it's out of him I got the list, which is listed in the book, of all the projects they worked in. Next. This is a picture of Dad at the first community center built in Rosilak. And he was so passionate about it, he would go and build it with his own hand and get the young folks to work with him and stuff. And he had asked me, he knew I love art. He asked me to do a coat of arms for him. And fortunately, I happened to have a picture of it. He brought everything for me and I did it. He wanted to build an attic up there to put me in a room to paint. So we move on. Right, this is the list. When you see the book, go on, let's see. Right, the contributions, there's a whole long list there of all the stuff they did. Right, and when he passed on, I was cleaning the drawer and I found this with the phone numbers of Biggs, Gaia, Mrs. Ramadar Singh, she's here, we will hear a few words from her, etc. And this was a quote he held close to his heart, and you see it fulfilled. He said, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, when knowledge is free, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, into that haven of freedom, my father, let my country awake, Rabindranath Tagore. So that's my bit for here, and I will now hand over back to Avisha.
Time will not allow all the members of the family to speak, so what we'll do is we're splitting it up. We're going to allow the one representative from the female offspring to speak. I'm not sure that you all, I know I don't have to say this, but the Ramsumair women are a force to be reckoned with in their own right. Inspired by Nana, most of the women, 6 out of the 7 women in the of the girls became teachers, and 3 of the daughter-in-laws became teachers. So you can imagine, as a child growing up in this house, what it was like when you were out of school. You were still in school with all the teachers around you. But we're going to ask tonight Mrs. Rajati Ricky, also known as Auntie Rati, a retired teacher from Tripona's government, Nana's 5th daughter, to speak on behalf of the daughters.
My pranams to you, Panditji. It's a pleasure. Pandit Basdev. Welcome, everyone. I'll try to be as short as possible. Now, I'll do a little excerpt just from what I wrote in the book. My take on it is more from a child's perspective and a daughter's perspective, not as a member of the community. All right, so I'll just go through quickly. My father, Mr. Mack, was not the ordinary, run-of-the-mill, typical man of his time. He did not possess any marked negative traits such as anger, bad mind, pettiness, false pride, and dishonesty. He was a noble, dignified, and humble man. He was an industrious, hardworking, responsible, loving, and caring son, brother, husband, father, father-in-law, etc. He was visionary and forward-thinking. And I will just go through one incident in his life, a very outstanding one in our family that not many people know about, to show you some of this characteristic. The manner in which he dealt with the unfortunate desertion of his sister by the person she was engaged to for more than 5 years. She was engaged to him for 8 years, waited while he went abroad to study to become a doctor. She was engaged to him and she was waiting here, and he deserted her. It was an extremely trying time for my father, being the eldest brother, who deeply loved and cared for his only sister. In that era, it was not unexpected for someone to respond to such a situation with anger and retribution. He did no such thing. He treated the family responsible for this transgression to his sister with due consideration. He would still invite them to our home and welcome them with great respect. I remember their presence at all our functions, how he went out of his way to welcome them. He never spoke ill of them, nor recounted the incident. We heard about it from my mother. He exhibited nobility and dignity in the manner in which he dealt with this regrettable incident. It showed he only had forgiveness in his heart, no bad mind. That was my father. I knew my father would harbor no grudge. I never knew my father to harbor any grudge or resentment towards anyone. No one. Anyone who did him any wrong. Right? And then I go on to say in the book, right, another outstanding trait of him, he was a devoted son. In my grandmother's late years, coming to the end, he brought her home here to live with us. He built an apartment downstairs for her, just for her to have her independence and her privacy. And there I witnessed, I saw a relationship between a father and a son. How he would go out of his way to please his mother. Anything she wanted, he would do it for her, right? My father, my earliest memories of him is him coming, with the car coming up and the headlights. So now I would have been about 3 or 4 years old. And the joy it would bring into my heart when I see those headlights turn up. In those days, we didn't have electricity, and so a headlight is a big thing. And how he would come up, and the joy I would get coming and meeting him by the car and holding his thumb and coming up the staircase there and chatting with him all the way, right? He was a small businessman by profession, right? However, he was also a very industrious man. He had a variety of special skills, as Vimla said, and he always working on some project around the house. Always working on some project around the house. He also took keen interest in the latest inventions of the 20th century that were coming in very fast at that time, right? He was one of the first in the village to acquire a gramophone together with his brother Biggs. Tape recorder, microphone, refrigerator, television, we got it first. Our home got these modern conveniences very early, right? And we took it at the norm at that time. Is now I'm an adult. When I look back at his life and I see what he did, I say, but wait a minute, you know, he was really forward thinking, right? It was an honor to be Mr. Mack's daughter. His 7 daughters and 3 sons were proud to be identified in public as Mr. Mack's children. We got great respect from persons we interacted with only because of him. As one of his girls, I knew what behavior was expected of me without having to be told. He was a strict father. However, he was a disciplinarian. However, he did not use fear as a weapon of control. We were not afraid of him, which was the norm in that time. Not to criticize anybody, that's how people knew how they brought up their children. He and my mother nurtured an environment of openness with frank discussions and at times heated arguments. And in those times, women were generally had to live in subservience under the rule of men. In most facets of society, in our home, we never felt this patriarchal oppression. Never felt. We were never afraid of our father. And this came to me when I was reminiscent, when I was able to compare with my friends at school and an adult, and they would recount how they feared their father. And when their father come home, they would disappear. We never had that problem. Our father was our friend. My father was a friend. My father cared for his daughters so much that when we get our materials and we are in pain in the night, this is the man who would bring tablet and give it to us and take a pillow and tuck us in. That was our father. When it's a rainy night and the wind is blowing hard in this house, my father is the one who would come and tuck us in and take the blanket and cover us. I remember all those days. And close the windows. That's the father we know. We never felt patriarchal pressure. We never felt oppressed. He was such an open-minded man that he didn't only marry his children, he married other people's children. 3 other children got married in this home together with his own. He opened his doors for them, and he married them off, right? That is the kind of man. He was a visionary and forward-thinking man, as we said earlier. And I could go on and on and on. So what I would do, one aspect I want to highlight, most important, is that he had a relationship in Labre with the young boys, African boys in Labre, where his gas station was. And he would bring home this young boy, or some of the boys, to help him around the projects in his house. And one boy he brought home very often was a guy called Sadsak. Now, Sadsak was a retarded child, mentally and physically challenged boy. And he brought Sadsak to him. He called him Sadi. And he taught Sadi so many skills. I witnessed how he would teach Sadi how to use the measuring tape and all that sort of thing. And he gave Sadi dignity. When most of the people, Sadsak was the object of ridicule at that time. People would ridicule children like that. And make fun of them, not my father. That is the kind of man my father was. So I'm giving you another side of him beside the community worker. This is the kind of man he was. He brought Sadsak. He is the man in the 60s, early 50s and early 60s when there was no storage of water in that school. And children at dry season would come to my father's shop and beg for water to drink. They have no water. Plastic bottles were not available. You can't carry glass, it was pretty precious. They had no water to drink and they would come and beg by us. My father got barrels, tar them, get them arranged, fill water in the night when the water come on the line and have it ready for those children who are coming. That is the broad-mindedness of the man. And I could go on and on. There are many, 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 many sides I could talk. So I hope you get another view or vision of him beside the social worker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Auntie Ratty. Now, to speak on behalf of the male offspring, we're going to take it down to another generation. We're going to ask Neeraj, and Adit to come and speak on behalf of their Aja. So let me introduce. Neeraj is the son of Uncle Dip, who is the 3rd son of my Nana. Uncle Dip's in the audience there. And Adit is one of twin boys of Uncle Vishnu here. So I'm going to ask both of them to speak on behalf of their Aja.
Sitaram. Sitaram, everyone. I actually did not have the blessing to meet my Aja. He died a few years before I was born. But we have a part of this book here that we would like to read as well on behalf of one of my ladies, Nitya. Sorry, Neela. It is quite extensive, so we'll try to keep it a bit brief. But so Neela, this is her words here. So she knows Aja, my Aja as Nana. So when I think of Nana, I have feelings and memories of unconditional love. So many years later, a piece of my heart still hurts with the sorrow that he is no longer with us. My memories are flashes of photo memories in no particular order. We lived in the same compound, and behind his shop for the years we lived in Rosilak, so we saw him very frequently. He often came to say he was going somewhere and to get me dressed. We'd go to Bhagwat, being held, or pujas he was invited to, or down the road to Uncle Big's gas station, or to the bazaar at school, or at the community center, to the shop at the junction for a chana and bread, or for a ride to buy a newspaper. He was always attentive, pulling you close, making sure you were okay, fed, happy, and loved. At home in his shop, I'd watch him interact with the numerous fan vendors peddling new options of items for sale, having long discussions, writing things down. He had beautiful handwriting, a lovely cursive that no one else has followed. So many times he'd give a sale so another could make a sale and make a living. not all the items being successful sellers in his outlet. We learned to give change from his money pan initially with help, then on her own, back then we can get items for less than 25 cents. We learned how many coins of different denominations used to make his coin rolls, and then how to roll them very tightly in brown paper.
I'll continue. So Neela continues here. Her most precious memory is one that's been taken so granted today with the vast improvements in technology and the development of our cultural world, was him in the dark tweaking the radio to get the right station to get one program, Radio India. I think to hear our music through the airwaves, he'd adjust the station until it was clear and sit in the dark and listen to music. Indian music, because back then there was no Indian radio or TV station. So proud he was of his culture and his religion. So he contributed to the development of his community and village selflessly. Every improvement leaving a positive mark, a foundation for the future generations to build upon. And with that, those words kind of reminds me of, I guess, my dad and Uncle Dip and Uncle Boya, for the males in the family. They were outnumbered, but they were not outgunned because they held their own. Uncle Boya, Satish's dad, his voice was just something that would trigger you and be like straight to Ramlog after when you hear that, right? The way he sung, he would bring us such joy from his Elvis impersonations and his entire just personality and his joy that he brought to. Uncle Boya had a disability with his foot and stuff like that, and it never stopped him from feeling love and spreading love wherever he was, wherever he went. My dad, I don't know what to say about my dad. My dad, I've learned so much by just being in his presence, and I worked 12 years with him in his workshop and learning carpentry trade with him. And I'm a computer scientist now, but my stuff that I learned with him when I was 11 years old, I still use it today. It's something I could never repay him for, and it's something that he's gone through a lot in his life, Dad, but I always. He's one that I know that Aja's love and devotion to his family comes through my dad in every single pore of his, the way he treats his family, the way he treats his children, his grandchildren, his nephews and nieces, and anytime he sees one of them running around, I just see his love just coming through all the time. So that's something I've taken with me as a man and having kids of my own, trying to bring that unconditional love and that progressive thinking that I know I got that from them. It's the only way that I've always known our family to be in progressive thinking. So that's why I have never really don't have a lot of memories about Aja personally. I hear people say that he's taking guys down the street with Amit and me and show you guys off or whatever that meant. But I don't remember any of that. And I know I feel it through everyone, through Uncle Dip too. when I look at Uncle Dip's house in Florida, I learn and see what he's done to the place, and I was like, it's a little bit of paradise that you created. I said that's only something that you get through Aja. Look what he did here with this place, and what Auntie D has done with this house. It's something that that you can't replicate anymore these days. So that's my piece.
Yeah, just to tack on what Alex said. Yeah, you see the strength of character and the morals that Aja and Aji had, and it greatly did come across in their children how I interacted with them as a kid, as a child. All the aunties and uncles on the Sadi family, even my mom's Sadi family, are just they have extreme respect and consideration for children, and it's something that I try to bring back in my life. I'm a teacher now, but I don't know if I could live up to this stellar example. So, Sitaram everyone, thank you for listening.
Okay, so we've reached the end of the memories, and we're just going to ask Satyam to come forward and say a poem and a prayer. Satyam is the eldest son of Satish and Shri, so he is technically the eldest great Ramsumair great grandson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that correct? Yes, he's the eldest. And we can't forget Sarvesh here, who's the second one.
This is a poem entitled Dad. It was done by Shri Ramsumair, the fifth of 10 children. Dad. My dad was a symbol of strength and a source of inspiration, a resourceful individual in moments of tribulation. Through the struggles of life, he never pursued strife, but with a calm disposition, he mastered every situation. He endlessly served his community and brought about stability, paved the way for future generations to reside in better living conditions. Supported by his family throughout, served parents and siblings without doubt, loved his grandchildren enormously, prayed to his God devoutly. He left this earth peacefully, contented that he did his best totally. Sacrifices in serving all made his life so enthralled. Future generations of the family should strive to continue his legacy, walking the paths of life consciously, blossoming into a karma yogi. I would now like to recite some verses of the Bhagavad Gita taken from chapter 2 as spoken by Shri Krishna Bhagavan. Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha nahanyate hanyamane sharire veda vinashinam nityam ya enamajamavyayam katham sapurushav partha kam ghatayati hantikam vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani granhati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi nainam chindanti shastrani nainam dahati pavakaha na chainam kledayantyapah na shoshayati marutah अच्छेद्यो यमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः. These verses speak about the soul lasting forever. It cannot ever be destroyed. It simply moves on from one body to another.
Thank you very much, Satya. Okay, so we've come to the end of the members of the family speaking on behalf of, speaking about Nana, and we're just going to ask Mrs. Grace Ratiram, who worked with him in the community. She's not here? Oh, no, okay. We, Mrs. Ramadase, right? She's a past counsellor, and she's worked closely with Nana in the Rosala Community Centre. We're going to ask her to come forward and to just say a couple of words about her interaction with Nana in the earlier years.
First of all, I pay tribute to you, Dharmacharya, to all the pundits, invited guests, all the children, grandchildren and great-grand. It is a pleasure. And if I had known before that I had to say something, I would have prepared. But it's always good to speak from your heart. And I had a great pleasure in working with Mr. Mack, as I would fondly call him at all times. It started as in the PTA of Rusalak Hindu School, and then in the village council. He was one of, and I was now telling Bisoon in the back there, he was one of the greatest souls that ever passed through Rusalak. I was a very young person, now get married, and my son was 4 years old, that is Glenn, and he started at Rusalak Hindu School. That is where I met Mr. Mack. And coming from a village of San Francisco into Rusalak and meeting a different environment, It was so nice to have a person like Mr. Mack who would lead you forward. Many, many times I would have to ask of his advice. Many, many times I would cry to him and say, Mr. Mack, I don't know where to go and what to do. Then we had an overflowing of the students at Jerusalem Hindu school. And I was a member of the PTA very early. Because Glenn was 4 years old, he started there at an early age. And we didn't know what to do at the PTA level. He called me and he said, and you teach a little bit in Tulsidas Hindu school? I said, yes. He said, good. You're going to run that school for me. We are going to take all the students who are 5 years and over and put them here. Because we had overflowing of, the school couldn't take no more, and we had children 5 years, 6 years, 6.5 years at his home and wasn't going away. And I started with Mr. Mack. He was a very, very inspirational person. He spoke so much about his daughters and his sons until I think it was Vimla and Glenda. He forever drawing reference to them, about them, to me, to give me strength to move on. And in the early days, my husband was an alcoholic. So being an alcoholic and having 3 children, I don't have to say no more. He was my backbone. He was my strength. In the village, he was everybody go to, Mr. Mack, every advice. And I want to say something here in the family that he had great confidence in Krishna Bisu, his nephew. Yeah. And he would tell me, he would say, Mrs. Ramadasing, when I am no longer involved in the village, I'm going to leave Krishna in charge. So then I had to work with him. He was a great soul. He was an inspirational person. He was a spiritual person. He was everything that you could think of for a great person and a great soul. Up to this day, I cherish his memories. I live by his memories. And I think my children, this evening when I dressed, I took a picture and I said, I'm going to Mr. Mack. Should he been alive, he would have been 100 years. And if you see congrats, I get on my chat. Because they know how close I was, and they also know that he was my inspiration as a young mother, a young villager, and a young social worker. Sometimes people wonder where I came from and how I got involved in politics. Mr. Mack was never a politician. He was too good to be a politician. But he led me on. And he always tell me, do not let nobody keep you back. Keep going and you will reach places. I am very sad that he didn't see me reach places because he passed on before. But today I'm very humbled to be here. Thank you so much to the family who thought about me and invited me here today. I couldn't miss this for nothing. So thank you all, and Sitaram to all.
Well, the next person on the list to speak, who had been asked to speak, was actually Mr. Krishna Bisoon. So you got an introduction from Mrs. Ramadasing. Now, I must say I'm getting some very surprised faces because I was given a list of people who were invited to speak. So those of you who don't know, Mr. Krishna Bisoon is actually my nanny's nephew, my nanny's sister's son. So he worked with Nana as a young person in the community, and we're happy to have him here today.
Sitaram, I'm a person who consider myself to be a talker, but I am put in a spot here now. So if I fumble, you'll excuse me. But I think I have something here that I would have sent, but I would have compiled based upon my relationship, not as a nephew, but as a co-worker in the village council. On behalf of the Bisoon family, we were indeed privileged to have interacted with this great soul. It was always a pleasure reminiscing on Uncle Mack, because his dedication to all was, I would say, unfathomable. This, I remember as a child in our home, Uncle Mack and Tanti used to be visiting, and the conversation that they had was so significant that it had value to our lives. And I remember as a boy and as a child in our home what it meant to listen to Uncle Mack. When I stood as a young man just getting married, Uncle Mack used to come to our house, not to talk to mama or daddy, and my wife will tell you, he will sit in my living room. I was downstairs in my parents' house as a young married man. And for hours, sometimes, I don't know if it is to wonder what it is we have to discuss soon, but it was about the village. What he had in mind, as Mrs. Ramayana Singh had mentioned, was I ascending to the presidency of the Ruslan Village Council. Nothing that I could imagine as a young person, 26 years old, to undertake. And in Rusilak, to be in a leadership role in Rusilak, I think was a real challenge. You have to be made up of some good metal to contend with it, because the whole village is like a normal village in Trinidad. Everybody wants you to be a special person, which if you're not formed in that way, if you don't have that in you, whatever that is, it will become extremely difficult. And Uncle Mack said, now, this was a discussion that Uncle Mack and Gayaki Soon had in their private conversation and had ushered me in. The rest was history, because I first declined. And I said, what am I to do? And I have to come up with solutions to make the Rusilak Village Council a functional village council. And Uncle Mack was my pillar, because he would come to sit with me when there are important issues to discuss about the village. Uncle Mack will come and sit with me. And in those days, we had little babies. And Finna was very able, so I could leave her alone. She would never interrupt that conversation. And you know, babies cry. And Uncle Mack would say, Dulahe, how is he called him Dulahe? He said, Dulahe, he will be there just now. And we will go on chatting for hours. And it was about the village. So I would say that Mr. Uncle Mack, and we want to say Mr. Mack, I learned two things from him. One, how to contribute to your community. That's one. And two, I learned his shrewdness in business. You know, I could have been a poultry farmer. But I took a different angle in terms of business. But I was insufficiently influenced by Uncle Mack to become a community worker or a community activist and a business person. For that, I am always grateful. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Uncle. I just want to open the floor to anyone who would want to make any comments, brief comments. If anybody else wants to make any sort of contribution. Okay, so if not, at this stage, I'm going to ask my aunt, the third daughter, Mrs. Glenda Singh, who we also known as Auntie Bobby, retired principal of Reform Hindu School, mother of Nitya Neela Nyara, to come forward and say some thank you and closing remarks.
Namaste, Panditji.
I want to say a special thank you to Panditji. He's a busy person. He's the Dharmacharya of Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha. He's a Pandit. He's a doctor. He has taken time to come with us this evening and to give us this eloquent, profound discourse. We have gems to take home with us. Thank you, Panditji. Just to honor him and his position, I put him first. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, members of the public, extended relatives, nieces, nephew, etc. You have done us such an honor to be here this evening just to commemorate the 100th birthday of my father, Shri Harnarine Ramsumair Maharaj. Mr. Maharaj was a budding karma yogi. I lived with him. Budding means he had the qualities of to become a karma yogi. I lived with him I married at 24, but I came back to live with him at the back of that shop there, the shop that was existing there. So I actually lived with him on a daily basis and knew who he was within, because we always converse about every single thing. And I was proud to hear that Mrs. Ramadari Singh mentioned my name. I didn't know he used to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, my job is simply to say thank you. But I didn't make any notes, so I'm going to just chase my brain. Thank you, Pandit Basdev and the Satsang group and all made this evening such a spiritual evening. We felt your vibration. We felt the vibration from Panditji also. So the whole atmosphere and the ambience was just right. Thank you. Thank you, the person who's recording here, the fair. Thank you very much. This is important to us too, all right? And it is so important to the generations that will come in the future. Thank you, who did the PA setup. I think it's a Satsang group. Thank you very much. But there's one person that I have to single out in this family, and that is Vimla. This is the backbone of this book. She is the backbone of this. This is a creative, dedicated, committed human being. She has taken some qualities from my dad. Nothing keeps her back when she puts her mind to doing something. Everything you see here this afternoon is Vimla. To get everybody to come together to write their piece and put it in this book is Vimla. She was never frustrated. Yes, sometimes she will call me, Glenda, it's plenty. I said, you have the ability, go ahead. This is an admirable sister. I admire her for her dedication, her dedication, her creativity, her patience, her tolerance, and her love. This is a beautiful human being. She's just displaying some of the qualities of my father and my mother. Okay, I cannot leave my mother out. She was the backbone of the support of my father. To all the nieces and nephews who are here, and my sister-in-laws, and Adit was with her all the time to get all this, everything going here. Thank you. You have made this possible, and it is so important. I think what they have done here, it's important for the society also, because we only hear stories or kathas of people's life, but there are many great souls in the society that nobody's making record of what they have been doing. Some of our pundits also, we need to put it on writing and put it on tape, because the young generation need to see these people and emulate some of the characteristics that they possess. They contributed to the society to make our society what it is. But what's happening in the world, I don't know. I sub in teaching in the United States, at the level of elementary, middle school, and high school. And I am shocked. What's happening in this world, I don't know. You have to get into the, I subbed in 30 schools in Coral Spring. Oh my God. We need people like them we need to document them. We need to put it down and share it with the public. That's the only way we will make an impact on the society. The society need these people. Please, thank you all who have contributed to making this a success, and I hope others will do the same. Thank you, Panditji. I hope they do something about you. You're a great soul. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie. At this stage, should I pass you back on to Auntie Diane? Okay, so I want to invite everyone. Dinner has been prepared, and I think we've reached the end of our program. Thank you all very much.
Bolo Satya Sanatan Dharma Ki Jai. All right, just bow your head. Together. A little bit of chanting, and then we're going to have dinner. And of course, it's been a pleasure being here. So, everybody together. Hari Om, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Vishnave Namaha. Hari Om Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva. Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva. Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva. Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Jai Sitaram. Enjoy your dinner. God bless you.
They still are singing? समदर्शी है नाम तुम्हारा, समदर्शी है नाम तुम्हारा, चाहे तो पार करो हमारे प्रभु, अवगुण दिया एक नार कहावत मैलो नीर। जब मिल गए तब एक वरन भयो, जब मिल गए तब एक वरन भयो, गंगा नाम करो, गंगा नाम करो हमारे प्रभु, अब गुण चित न धरो हमारे प्रभु, अब गुण चित न धरो। एक लोहा पूजा में राखत, एक घर बधी कपरो। एक लोहा पूजा में राखत, एक घर बधी कपरो। यह दुविधा पासर नहीं राखत, यह दुविधा पासर नहीं राखत, कंचन करत करो, कंचन करत करो हमारे प्रभु, अब गुण चित न धरो हमारे प्रभु, अब गुण चित न धरो। यह माया ब्रह्मजाल निवारो, भिखारी सिंह सजो। यह माया ब्रह्मजाल निवारो, भिखारी सिंह सजो। अब के बिर मोर पार लगाओ, अब के बेर मोर पार लगाओ, नहीं प्राण जात करो, नहीं प्राण जात करो हमारे प्रभु, अब गुण चित न धरो हमारे प्रभु, अब गुण चित न धरो। समदर्शी है नाम तुम्हारा, समदर्शी